Hello, join me today as I pop off my 5-day-old Manny and we'll see which peel base ends up being my favorite. Hi friend, welcome back. It's Brittany with Britts Dips. So today is day 5 that I have been wearing this Manny, and I had 2 premature pop-offs. It was like one right after the other on day 4. So we lost the ring finger and the middle finger of the full layered hand. One came off when I was pulling towels out of the washing machine, and I can't even remember what I was doing when the other one came off. No, it wasn't anything strenuous. But they both completely came off nice and clear with no issues. It's just they came off a little bit earlier than I wanted. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the rest of them. We're gonna see, I'm gonna evaluate how they come off. Ideally, they come off in one full piece like this and not in a bunch of chunks, and that they don't leave residual on the nails. So I have a 100/180 grit file. I am going to go ahead and file both side walls of the nail and then the free edge here of the nail. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of my remaining nails. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands real quick, get rid of this excess powder, and then I'll be back. We'll put some cuticle oil on and pop these guys off. And I like to kind of rub it in to the sides that are filed. Just kind of get it in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this cuticle tool. It is flat on the end here, and I like to, so you can see there is a distinct line edge between my nail tip and the powder. So let's see here, I'm going to just stick the tool in between, pop it off. Right, that was our thumb. So the thumb came off in a couple of different pieces. Super easy. Index, same thing. He kind of left a couple. Okay, so now we're going to do this hand. This is the hand that had the thin line going down. This is my non-dominant hand, so it's a little bit harder for me. So the thumb was definitely a lot harder on this side. It came off in multiple pieces. It had to be very forceful. And there is some residual still left here. Moving on to the index. That's our index. So that came off in a bunch of tiny little pieces. That is not what I want whenever I am doing this. So I would say so far the thumb and the index finger require a full layer. Left a lot of residual on my nail that's going to need filed off. It's not going to just come off. That's our middle finger, even worse. Ugh. Here's the ring finger. So there's a big difference between my full layer hand versus my thin stripe hand. The thin stripe, they all kind of acted the same, where it adhered on the perimeter of the nail. So it kind of like leaves a mess where all of this is going to be needed filed before I can even start, whereas my full layer hand, I could just start dipping or just do a little bit of cuticle care. All right, well, it's time to do our reveal. I'm ready. This is number 1, and we're gonna go ahead through them all. So here is our number 1. As a review, number 1 was on my thumb. Stayed on for the full 5 days. Dry time was 2 minutes, 25 seconds. It went on thin, watery. It was milky white when it went on, and it dried clear. It had minimal odor. The first layer was spotty, so I do recommend using a gel top coat before dipping. It had a clean removal for the full layer, and I had a difficult time. It came off in multiple layers in the thin strip. So I recommend doing at least a full layer. You'll get at least 5-day wear time out of it, and applying a gel top coat over top of it before dipping. Number 2 had a dry time of 5 minutes 20 seconds. It's both of them stayed on for 5 full days with no issues. The consistency was watery thin. It went on milky white. This was the one that did leave a little bit of a hue on the nail. It had a minimal odor. The first layer of dip base did not dry spotty, so a top coat is not needed. It had a completely clean removal for the full layer, and it came off in multiple small pieces with leaving a lot of residual behind for the thin strip. They all did. They left a lot of residual behind for the thin strip. If I were to take anything away from what I'm doing right now, I'm living the life of 1 full layer at least. That is my goal. I would like to have it all come off in 1 piece or 2 pieces or 3 pieces, and that's it. This multiple 10 little pieces flying all over the room is absolutely terrible. And I still got the same wear time out of it for most of them. Number 3 had a 3-minute dry time. It went on a little bit thicker. It dried clear. It was clear and dried clear. It had a minimal odor. This one, the full layer, popped off prematurely on day 4. It did not dry spotty with the dip base, so the gel top coat is not needed in between. I would recommend somewhere in between a thin full layer to a thin strip. So if we look at the difference here, this was the full layer that popped off prematurely, and then this was the thin strip that did not and stayed on. So I think maybe somewhere in between the two. Number 4, dry time was 2 minutes 45 seconds. Consistency was thin but not watery. It went on cloudy and it dried cloudy. There was absolutely no odor. It did pop off prematurely day 4 for the full layer of it. Top coat is not needed in between the peel base and dip. It did not dry spotty. And I would say again, my ring finger needs somewhere in between a thin line and a full layer. All right, and then the last one, number 5, was my pinky. The dry time is 1 minute 30 seconds. The consistency was thin, watery. It went on clear and dried clear, and it did not dry spotty. The top coat is not needed. It did leave some residual on the thin strip. It came off in about 20 pieces, so I'd recommend the full layer for this one as well. All right, well, it's time to reveal. If I were to pick which one I would say right now would be my favorite, I think I'll go with the thumb. So the thumb came off in one complete, I think it came off in two pieces. It came off very, very easy, how it should, but it stayed on for the full 5 days. I'm gonna go with the thumb. The thumb is my winner for this one. That was the one that had 2-minute and 25 dry time. Consistency was thin, watery. It went on milky white, but it dried clear with minimal odor. Oh, and this one was a little bit spotty with the dip base, so this is the only one that I recommended using a gel top coat, which I did not use a gel top coat in this testing, which means it would probably even come off better if that was applied. Okay, so let's go ahead and reveal. Number one, that would be my choice, my winner, is double dipped. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So I have never used this before. Double dipped is a water-based peel base, and it runs $8 right now on their website. That is exciting. So double dipped is going to be my winner here. I did a full layer. It stayed on for 5 days, and it came off completely clean with ease. I recommend that. Number two, I'm just so excited. This is like nerve-wracking. Number two is Salt Dips. So Salt Dips runs $7. Number three, Sand Designer Dips. So number three was the one on my middle finger where it came off a little prematurely. This runs $10 and it is HEMA free. Number four is Manny Boss, and you can see this one is kind of pink, but I think my notes said it went on cloudy and dried cloudy. Manny Boss runs $10. It is 18 free, vegan, and cruelty free. The ingredients for this were actually listed, so not all of the peel base ingredients are listed for majority of these, but this one was listed as polyurethane 1, propylene glycol, hyaluronic acid. Runs you $10. That's Manny Boss. That one did prematurely pop off. And then number 5, Pampered Pretties. So Pampered Pretties, this runs you $10. It is 18 free, cruelty free, vegan. And these two have the same listed ingredients. So polyurethane, propylene glycol, and hyaluronic acid. So these were the two that came off early. They came off prematurely when I used a full layer with them. So Sand Designer, I'd recommend more on the thinner stripe side if you don't want it to prematurely pop off, and Manny Boss also. So somewhere in between a full layer to a thin stripe. I wouldn't quite go full layer unless you're changing it every 2 days like I am. And then I would compare these two together as well. Salt Dips and Pampered Pretties, they acted pretty much the same. This was my index finger and my pinky. On the full layer side, they came off in a complete sheet, which was perfect. On the thin strip side, they came off in like 20 different pieces, which I don't prefer that. So for Salt Dips and for Pampered Pretties, I would recommend doing one full layer for these. And then this was my favorite in this testing out of these 5 was Double Dipped. I did a full layer on my thumb, and it stayed on for the full 5 days and came off completely clean, which is great. That's what my goal is. That's what I was going for. So this one had the 2-minute and 25-second dry time. The consistency was thin, watery. It is a milky white base, but it did dry clear, and it runs about $8. All right, here we have it. Here's my final results for these 5. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to test 5 more against each other. I'll see you there.